The invitation from the Royal Opera House to create a new production of Rusalka was also an invitation to make it a climate-conscious production.
Rusalka is a Czech fairy tale about a water spirit who falls in love with a human prince. She believes that in order to have a complete connection, she needs to transform into a human. This production is the first production at the ROH that is taking sustainability as part of the process.
So this was our first production where we really tried to work towards Green Book baseline standards. So the Theatre Green Book sets out in really helpful detail what we should be doing in each production in terms of how much we should be trying to reuse materials from previous productions, how we should be dealing with travel. It covers all sorts of aspects of the production.
We'd originally designed this really sumptuous foliage to make it feel like you were really in a very, very dense glade. But actually to make that foliage, that involved a lot of new materials and that didn't feel really right for the production. So actually what we managed to do was use some dead stock from the Royal Opera House's previous productions. There's a lot of soldiers' uniforms from a Carmen 1991 production that was no longer going to be revived, and so we used all of those materials in order to make the hanging foliage.
So the first job for us was to go through all of that and see what we could have of them, what was feasibly usable for us. There's been a lot of experiments done on how much weight things can take, because they all have to hang, they have to be lowered down, they have to be stored in certain ways, they all get very tangled up, so lots of technical issues there. And we have reels and reels and reels of all sorts of costume trimmings that we've got into the right colour.
What I really love about that is there's a history of the Opera House, there's a history of natural materials being on stage and representing the foliage. So for us that was a kind of a transformation in thinking, but also a really positive one.
This is the first one where the ROH is making choices specifically about ecological action. And so we are at the beginning. We are at the beginning, we are at the foothills of the conversation and the actions that will result from the conversation.
It was by no means perfect, but it's been a real eye-opener in the things that we should really be looking at and trying to focus on for all of our future productions. Cultural shift happens because the arts begin to make people question things.